Hello and welcome back to another episode of Clarissa Cooks It All. And today we're going to be making some homemade ravioli. We're going to be doing a mixture of ground beef and sausage in this, along with some ricotta and some Parmesan. Let's get started. To make our pastry dough, we're going to need 2 cups of flour. Make a well inside of your flour, and then go ahead and add in 2 eggs, a teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of olive oil, and start mixing this up until it starts to form into a dough ball. Once you've got it all formed into a ball and it's starting to come away from the sides, we're going to go ahead and take this out of the bowl and put it onto a lightly floured surface, and we're going to knead this for about 5 to 10 minutes. After that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it in some plastic, and we're going to just leave this sit on the counter and let this rest for about 30 minutes. During that time, we're going to start working on prepping the filling for this and our sauce for our ravioli. For our filling, we're going to start with a ½ pound of ground beef and a ½ pound of sausage. We're going to season that with a ½ teaspoon of pepper and a tablespoon of crushed parsley and a ½ tablespoon of paprika. I use my mix and chop. We want nice and small pieces because we're adding this inside of our noodles and to make our ravioli, so you want it to be nice and small. When this is done and it's cooled, we're going to go ahead and add our ground beef that we made into 15 ounces of ricotta, along with 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley, a ½ cup of sauteed mushrooms and leeks, a ½ teaspoon of pepper, and a ½ cup of fresh grated Parmesan, and mix this all up. And we're going to go ahead and set this off to the side until we're ready to fill our ravioli. Next, we're going to start working on our sauce. We're going to start with 1 medium onion that's diced up, a tablespoon of fresh parsley, 4 garlic cloves that have been minced, and just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. And we're going to cook this down until it's all nice and translucent. Then we're going to go ahead and add in 1 can of tomato sauce, and we're going to turn our heat down nice and low and let this just simmer. If it starts to get a little too thick, you can just add a little bit of water into it to thin it back out. Now that our dough is rested for about 30 minutes, we're going to go ahead and start rolling this out and forming our raviolis. For this, it turns out my Pampered Chef measuring cup is useful for more than just measuring things. I use this to cut out my ravioli. To me, it was the perfect size for them. When you're cutting these out, you want to make sure you're counting them as you're cutting them, because you don't want them to dry out, and you want to have an even amount and not have any that are left over. So if you have extra space but not enough to do 2 more, just leave it and you can use that in the next bit that you do. And you're going to keep doing this until all your dough has been used. Now when we're filling these, I put about a half a tablespoon of mixture into the center, and then when we put them together, I just used a little bit of some water, and this is a paintbrush that I use in my kitchen for things like this. I usually use it for my wontons, but just add a little bit of water around the outside of the circle, and then take another piece and press it onto the top. Make sure that all the sides are nice and closed up, and then I just kind of took a little fork and went around the whole side and pushed them all down. Now when we're cooking our pasta, they're only going to take about 2 to 3 minutes to cook. When you put them into the water, you want to take your spoon that you're going to use to pull them out and just kind of gently move the water around on the bottom and make sure that none are stuck to the bottom. As soon as they float to the top, they're done. Now, when they're done cooking, you can take them and put them into your pasta sauce and kind of let them sit in there and soak up the sauce a little bit. But I decided to just kind of drizzle mine on there. I did put a little bit of pasta sauce on the bottom underneath them before I put them onto the plate. Drizzled a little bit on there, and then I sprinkled a little bit of some Parmesan and some fresh parsley on the top. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed this video. The next video coming up is going to be some lamb and eggs. And then coming up, I'm going to try something else new that I've never made before, and we're going to make some tarts. I'm going to do ones with a pastry cream and fresh fruit, and another one that's going to be chocolate. So make sure y'all subscribe and stay tuned.